All right, so like imagine trying to explain TikTok to a caveman, right? You're showing them like videos of dancing cats and the latest viral trends, and they're just staring at you like with bewildered eyes holding their flint tool. It's pretty wild when you think about it, right?
Yeah, it really highlights how far we've come as a species. I mean, from sticks and stones to the digital age, it's mind-boggling.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into in this deep dive. Our source is this fascinating piece called Cavemen to Cyborgs. And it takes us on this whirlwind tour through history, exploring how technology has shaped us every step of the way. But here's the thing. It's not just about the gadgets. It's about the unexpected consequences, the potential downsides, the ways each leap forward has transformed us, for better or for worse.
It's like every invention comes with a hidden cost, a trade-off.
Exactly. So buckle up. We're about to explore the good, the bad, and the downright strange when it comes to humans and our tools.
The pace of change is what's really striking. I mean, for most of human history, progress was slow, incremental. But in the last few centuries, it's like we've hit fast forward.
Yeah, it's like we're on this runaway train of innovation.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to understand the ripple effects, right?
Absolutely.
So let's start at the very beginning with the OG tech revolution. Fire.
Fire.
And flint tools. Now, you might be thinking, fire, that's basic stuff. But trust me, it's way more than just staying warm or cooking dinner.
Oh, absolutely. Mastering fire was a pivotal moment in our evolution. It changed everything.
Like how?
Well, for one thing, cooking food made it easier to digest, leading to better nutrition. And that extra energy, it fueled the growth of our brains.
So fire was like brain food.
Precisely.
Wow.
Plus, think about all the time that was freed up. No more chewing on tough raw meat all day long. That newfound free time allowed for more social interaction,
Right.
Which then spurred the development of language, complex social structures, the whole shebang.
It's like fire was the original social network, gathering around the campfire, sharing stories. I love it. And speaking of tools, those flint tools our caveman ancestors were using. Those were pretty ingenious too, right?
Incredibly versatile. Hunting, gathering, crafting, building, you name it, they used flint for it.
Like the Swiss Army knives of the Stone Age.
Exactly.
I mean, sure, they weren't as sleek as our smartphones.
Yeah.
But you have to admit, pretty impressive for their time.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating to see that drive for innovation, that desire for tools that make life easier, even in our earliest ancestors.
It's like this inherent human thing.
Totally.
Okay, so we've mastered fire, invented some handy tools. What's next? Well, fast forward a few thousand years, and we arrive at the agricultural revolution. This is where things get really interesting. We go from roaming hunter-gatherers to settled farmers, cultivating crops, and, well, let's just say it, inventing taxes.
Yeah, taxes are definitely a hallmark of civilization.
But seriously, agriculture was a huge shift, right?
Profound. Not just about food production, but a complete change in our relationship with nature.
Right.
It led to villages, cities, the complex societies we live in today.
But I've heard that agriculture might have actually made some early farmers less healthy, less healthy than their hunter-gatherer ancestors.
It's a fascinating theory. Imagine relying on just a handful of crops for your diet. You might have more food overall, but it's less diverse.
I see.
That can lead to deficiencies in essential vitamins and minerals.
So it's like taking one step forward in food production, but 2 steps back in nutrition.
Exactly. Progress isn't always a straight line. Even well-intentioned advancements can have unforeseen consequences.
And that's a theme we see again and again throughout history. Right?
Absolutely. Every technological leap comes with trade-offs.
Okay, speaking of leaps, let's jump ahead to the Industrial Revolution. Steam engines, factories, mass production, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
It's like we went from handcrafting everything to suddenly having machines that could churn out products at an incredible rate.
The Industrial Revolution transformed the world. A single coal-fired power plant generates more energy than 1,000 medieval villages combined.
Wow, that's mind-blowing. But all that power came with the dark side, right? I mean, we've all heard about the harsh working conditions, child labor, the environmental impact.
It had a profound impact on society, and not all of it was positive.
Yeah.
The rise of factories led to the concentration of workers in urban centers, often living in crowded, unsanitary conditions.
It's like in our quest for progress, we forgot about the human cost.
In a way, yes.
And this unease, this fear of technology dehumanizing us, it starts to show up in the literature of the time, right?
Exactly. Think of books like 1984 or Brave New World. They paint a pretty grim picture of what happens when technology becomes too powerful and individual freedom is sacrificed.
It's like those dystopian novels were warnings,
Precisely.
urging us to be mindful of the pitfalls of unchecked technological advancement.
They serve as a reminder that we must always consider the ethical and societal implications of our inventions.
Okay, so from the Industrial Revolution, we find ourselves on the cusp of the digital dawn. From those massive, room-sized computers that could barely do basic calculations, to the smartphones we carry in our pockets, devices with more power than NASA had during the Apollo missions.
It's a remarkable transition. The digital age has brought about a level of interconnectedness and access to information that was unimaginable just a few decades ago.
And then there's the internet. Started as a way to connect military bases, and now it connects billions of people worldwide.
Hard to believe something so transformative started as a relatively niche project.
Totally. The internet has changed the way we communicate, learn, work, everything. It's created this globalized society where information flows freely, borders become almost irrelevant.
But this level of interconnectedness also presents new challenges.
Right. It's like this incredible tool that can be used for both good and bad. We can connect with people across the globe, share ideas, access a wealth of information. But it also makes us vulnerable to misinformation, manipulation, even cyber attacks. Remember that first cyber attack back in 1903?
Oh, yeah?
It just shows that as our technology evolves, so do the ways in which it can be exploited.
It's a constant cat and mouse game between those who innovate and those who seek to exploit those innovations.
It really makes you wonder, are we really in control of technology, or is it starting to control us?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
I mean, think about it. You probably check your smartphone dozens of times a day.
Oh, way more than that, I'm sure.
We rely on these devices for everything.
Navigation, communication, entertainment, keeping up with those dancing cats on TikTok.
Exactly. It's almost like we've become extensions of our phones, or maybe our phones have become extensions of us.
It's kind of a scary thought. The source actually uses the term tool dependence to describe us. I mean, it's a bit unsettling, but it's hard to argue with. We've become so reliant on technology, it's hard to imagine life without it.
And that dependence makes us vulnerable.
Exactly.
So it's a reminder that we need to be mindful of our relationship with technology. Are we using it to enhance our lives, or are we letting it dictate our thoughts, behaviors, our values?
Yeah, it's a question we'll keep exploring as we delve deeper into this journey from cavemen to cyborgs.
And trust me, it gets even wilder from here.
This whole tool dependence thing,
Yeah.
it's kind of like unsettling, right?
Yeah, it makes you think.
It really does. But before we go full existential crisis on everyone, let's talk about those tech dangers we mentioned earlier. Remember the plow, like revolutionized farming and all that? But the source kind of throws this curveball, suggesting it might have messed with our health.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
How even seemingly beneficial technologies can have like these unintended consequences. The shift to agriculture led to a reliance on fewer crops. And as we discussed, that could mean nutritional deficiencies.
So we went from eating all kinds of wild plants and animals to basically just grains and a few other things.
Exactly. And while that did mean a larger and more stable food supply, it also meant early farmers weren't getting all the nutrients they needed. Some studies suggest that this led to, health problems like anemia, stunted growth, even increased susceptibility to diseases.
So it's like too much of a good thing, in a way. Even food can be a problem if we're not getting enough variety.
Right.
And it's not just the plow. This whole idea that technology can backfire, have unintended consequences. It's like we see that with the car, too, right?
Oh, absolutely. The automobile revolutionized transportation, gave us freedom, opened up new possibilities for travel.
Road trip.
Exactly. But it also came with a price. Air pollution, traffic congestion, and of course, the tragic number of traffic fatalities.
Yeah, that's the dark side of it, for sure. It's a reminder that even the most groundbreaking inventions have trade-offs.
Every rose has its thorn, right?
Exactly. But it gets even weirder when you think about how technology might be influencing, like, evolution itself.
Oh, yeah.
Take glasses, for example. Pretty simple invention. But they had a huge impact.
Massive. In the past, if you had poor eyesight, well, it would have been much harder to survive.
Let alone pass on those genes, right?
Precisely. But with glasses, people with less than perfect vision can function just fine.
So it's like we're helping those genes that might have been weeded out by natural selection.
In a sense, yes. Technology is altering the course of evolution,
Wow.
allowing traits that might have been considered weaknesses to persist.
It's like we're hacking evolution.
Yeah, in a way.
That's mind-blowing. And it's not just glasses. It's happening with other inventions too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Take the chair, for instance. Such a simple object, right?
Yeah, we don't even think about it.
But our bodies weren't designed for prolonged sitting. And yet here we are, spending hours each day hunched over desks and cars, on couches.
Wait, are you saying chairs are bad for us?
I wouldn't say bad, but they have definitely influenced our evolution.
Okay.
Prolonged sitting has been linked to a whole host of health problems.
Like what?
Back pain, weak core muscles, changes in posture, even bone structure.
So we're evolving to fit our furniture.
It's a strange thought, isn't it?
It's kind of terrifying, actually. But it's fascinating, too. It's all connected.
It really is.
All this talk about tools and progress. It brings us to something that's both exciting and, well, a little scary. Artificial intelligence. You mentioned that prediction, about 85 million jobs lost to AI.
Yeah.
That's a huge impact.
AI is rapidly changing the world as we know it.
Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. Or maybe it's a robot elephant at this point. Are we all going to be out of a job soon?
The fear of job displacement is understandable. AI can perform many tasks that were once done by humans, often more efficiently and accurately.
Right.
But it's important to remember that throughout history, technological advancements have often led to the creation of new jobs, as they rendered others obsolete.
So it's not necessarily about fearing AI, but about adapting, preparing for a future where humans and machines work together.
Exactly. We need to focus on developing skills that complement AI. Things like creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence.
Skills that machines can't replicate.
Exactly.
But what about the scary stuff? Like killer robots and AI taking over the world? That's not just Hollywood hype, right?
The development of autonomous weapon systems is a reality, unfortunately. The idea of machines making life or death decisions without human intervention is concerning, to say the least.
It's like a sci-fi movie come to life, but with much higher stakes. It makes you wonder, are we creating a future where technology controls us?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is. We talked about tool dependence earlier.
Right.
I mean, how often do you check your phone?
More than I'd like to admit, probably.
Exactly. We're so reliant on technology, it's hard to imagine life without it.
And that dependence comes with risks.
So we need to find a balance. Embrace the power of technology, but not let it control us.
Exactly. Be mindful of how we use it, set boundaries, make sure it serves our needs, not the other way around.
I like that. Okay, so we've talked about some of the downsides, but let's look at the other side. Could technology actually help us evolve into something, like, greater?
That's where transhumanism comes in.
Transhumanism.
It's the belief that technology can be used to enhance human capabilities, overcome our limitations, maybe even achieve immortality.
Immortality. Sign me up. But seriously, what does that even mean? Uploading our brains into computers.
That's one possibility. There's also genetic engineering, nanotechnology, brain-computer interfaces. The idea is to use technology to push the boundaries of human potential.
To create a future where we transcend our current limitations.
Exactly.
It sounds amazing and terrifying at the same time. Like, what happens to our humanity if we become more machine than human?
That's the core ethical debate surrounding transhumanism. What does it mean to be human? What defines us? And how do we preserve those qualities in a future where the lines between human and machine become blurred?
It's like we're at a crossroads. One path leads to this amazing future where technology empowers us, makes us immortal, and the other path leads to, I don't know, a dystopian nightmare where machines rule.
It's a stark choice.
It is.
And the choices we make today will determine which path we take. We need to have these conversations about the ethical implications of these technologies and work towards a future that benefits all of humanity.
Okay, I need a minute to process all of this.
Take your time. When we come back, we'll explore the final frontier, the potential merging of humans and AI.
All right. Phew, I think I'm back online after all that.
Yeah.
We've talked about everything from cavemen with fire to, like, the dangers of chairs. But now the source throws us this final, like, mind-blowing prediction. Humans and AI merging completely within 50 years.
It's a concept known as the singularity. Basically, the point where AI surpasses human intelligence and potentially even integrates with it.
So, like, what does that even look like? Are we talking about uploading our brains into computers, like some digital afterlife?
That's one possibility, yeah. But there are others too. Imagine, like, nanomachines integrated into our brains, enhancing our abilities, connecting us directly to the internet, maybe even controlling devices with our thoughts.
So we could become like telepathic cyborgs. That's both amazing and kind of terrifying.
It is, isn't it? It raises so many questions about what it means to be human.
Right. What happens to our humanity if we become more machine than human?
Exactly.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Except it's becoming more and more like science fact every day.
So if this merger happens, what kind of future are we looking at? Utopia or dystopia?
It really comes down to the choices we make right now. Technology itself isn't inherently good or evil. It's how we use it that matters.
So it's not about being afraid of AI, but about making sure it serves humanity.
Exactly. We need to prioritize ethical considerations, ensure these technologies benefit everyone, and create a society that values human dignity even as we embrace these advancements.
It's a lot to think about. I mean, we've come a long way from those cavemen huddled around the fire. Who knew we'd be talking about merging with our own creations?
It's a testament to human ingenuity, our endless curiosity, but it also shows how important responsibility and careful planning are.
Totally. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into cavemen to cyborgs. We've covered a lot of ground, from the earliest tools to the mind-blowing possibilities of AI.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has.
I hope this has left you with a sense of wonder, but also a sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
The future is full of potential for good and for bad.
It's up to us to shape it. So, the next time you pick up your smartphone, take a moment to think about everything that led to its creation, and maybe ask yourself, what will our tools make of us as we continue to evolve alongside them?